All rise who are able for the more Shemarka prayer. Allah the Father of the universe.
Allah the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Through our lead. Amen.
Please remain standing for the more shawns and units. First shall rise, giving praise to Allah.
First I rise and give praise to Allah,
The great God of the universe.
the great God of the universe.
And give honor to the last prophet of these days.
Give honor to the last prophet in these days,
Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
And give honor to all true and divine prophets of Allah.
Give honor to all true and divine prophets of Allah, Jesus,
Muhammad, Buddha,
Buddha,
Confucius, etc.
etc.
And give honor to Marcus Garvey,
Give honor to Marcus Garvey,
forerunner Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
forerunner of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
And give honor to the American flag,
Give honor to the American flag,
flag of our birth,
flag of our birth,
and to the Moorish flag,
and to the Moorish flag,
our decent flag,
our decent flag,
the red flag,
the red flag,
with the 5-pointed green star in the center,
with the 5-pointed green star in the center,
the 5 points representing
the 5 points representing
the divine principle
divine principle,
of love, true peace, freedom, and justice.
love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
I give honor to all past leaders of the Moorish Science of America,
Give honor to all past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Incorporated, Brother C. Kirkland Bay,
Brother C. Kirkland Bay,
Brother F. Nelson Bay,
Brother F. Nelson Bay,
and Brother J. Blakely Bay.
and Brother J. Blakely Bay.
I give honor to our former past Grand Sheik and moderator,
I give honor to our former past Grand Chief and moderator,
Brother R. Loveville.
Brother R. Loveville.
I give honor to our present Grand Sheik
Give honor to our present Grand Chief
and moderator
and moderator
of the Moorish Science Temple
Moorish Science Temple
of America
of America,
Incorporated, Brother R. Jones Bay.
Brother R. Jones Bay.
I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik
Give honor to Assistant Grand Chief
of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother A. Hopkins Bay.
Brother A. Hopkins Bay.
I give honor to the Grand National Chairman,
Give honor to the Grand National Chairman,
who is also the Grand Sheik
who is also the Grand Chief
here at Temple number 71,
here at Temple number 71,
Washington, D.C.,
Washington, D.C.
Brother P. Chase Hill.
Brother P. Chase
I
Hill.
give honor to all national officials
Give honor to all national officials
in their office and station.
in their office and station.
I give honor to all state officials,
Give honor to all state officials.
giving honor to Brother H. Harris Bay,
Give honor to Brother H. Harris Bay,
Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.,
Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.
and to his assistant,
To his assistant,
Brother T. Dozier Bay.
Brother T. Dozier Bay.
I give honor to all local officials
Give honor to all local officials
in their office and station,
in their office and stations,
all divine ministers,
all divine ministers,
chiefs and sheikhs,
chief and chiefs,
and all members
and all members
of the Moorish Science of America,
of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Incorporated, and to all the auxiliaries,
and to all the auxiliaries,
and to the Moorish media team,
and to the Moorish media team,
and everything that the prophet brought and taught,
and everything the prophet brought and taught,
for the uplifting of fallen remains.
for the uplifting of all humanity.
Give honor to all wayfarers,
Give honor to all wayfarers,
sympathizers,
sympathizers,
seekers after truth,
seekers after truth,
all viewers,
all viewers,
and those who are listening in.
and those who are listening in.
Give honor to our class.
Give honor to our class.
Peace.
Peace.
Islam.
Islam.
Our now reading salvation, our God unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs. If he lives according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being in Moorish America, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds filled with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali family. Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, mailing address, 388 Greenbelt, Maryland, 2076. Thus, we've had a reading from the Divine Constitution Bylaws, all 7 acts. We'll now have a reading from Questionnaire and Additional Laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand chiefs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members, that it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand chief. Act 2. All members are to attend their adat meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, she'll be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able and finance, to aid me and save the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church, or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplift in the fall of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds filled with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Peace. Thus we had a reading from all 7 acts, questionnaire, and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. I now read from the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from the sinful and fallen state of humanity, back to the highest plane of life, his father, God Allah. I'll read from chapter, this is going to be chapter 40. This is chapter 43. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 43. Holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. If there is anything lovely, if there is anything desirable, if there is anything within the reach of man that is worthy of praise, is it not knowledge? And yet, who is he that attaineth it? Thus we've had a reading from the Holy Koran and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Our Sunday school is officially open. And I'd like to welcome you out. Is anyone downstairs, please have them come up now. I'd like to welcome you all out more. And the mailing address, I left a number out. That number, the mailing address is 388 Greenville, Maryland, 20768. And at this time, I call for our Grand Chief and moderator of Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, our brother, man, and friend, for our Sunday school, Brother R. Jones Bay.
Islam.
Islam.
salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, through our lead. Amen.
Praise the Lord. Okay, let's go to the questionnaire. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where's the nearest place we can meet?
In the heart.
Who is Noble Dwelling?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
The prophet is the Torah of Allah manifested in the flesh.
What is the duty of a prophet?
To save nations from the wrath of Allah.
Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Noble Dwelling.
What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
1913 AD.
Where?
Newark, New Jersey.
Where was Noble Dwelling born?
In the state of North Carolina in 1886.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
Why are we Moorish American?
Because we are descendants of Moroccans and Mauritanian America.
For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
We are living in the following manner.
How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish American?
By teaching and reading the symbols.
What is our religion?
Islamism.
Is that a new or is that the old time religion?
Or old time religion.
What kind of a flag is the Moorish?
It is a red flag with 5-pointed green star in the center.
What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
Which is our holy day?
Friday.
Why?
Because Friday is the day on which man was formed in flesh, and it was on Friday we departed out of flesh.
Who was Jesus?
He was a prophet of Allah.
Where was he born?
In Bethlehem of Judah in the house of David.
Who were his father and mother?
Joseph and Mary.
Would you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers who was Jesus came are Abraham, Isaac, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, Joseph, and Mary.
Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth?
To save Israelites from the iron and oppression of the Philistine nations of Europe who were governed a portion of Palestine at that time.
How long has that been?
About 2,000 years ago.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was a Moabite.
What is the modern name for Moabite?
Moroccans.
Where's the Moroccan Empire?
Northwestern Mexico.
What is the modern name for Mexico?
Africa.
What is the title given to our ruling Morocco?
Sultan.
Where do we get the name Jesus?
From the east.
What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin.
What is a divine movement founded? A movement to be divine must be founded on something. By founded, I mean what? Established on something.
On the truth.
Yes. It must be founded on what?
The truth.
Truth. And why must it be founded on the truth?
Truth is the only thing that changes now.
It's the only thing that changes not. That is the truth. Why else must it be founded on the truth? What can you do with the truth?
Truth needs no support.
It needs no support. That's right. That's right. What else about truth?
It makes it free.
It does make you free. It does.
You have a foundation.
It is. It builds a foundation. Yes, truth. Truth is a lie. That's right. A divine movement must be founded on truth because truth is what? He's alive. It doesn't change. And we're trying to learn based on truth. We're trying to learn more about who?
Allah.
Who is the founder of a divine movement. So what we're doing, we're seeking out by way of the movement that has been made available to us so that we may learn to do what? Learn to love instead of hate. What's the purpose of learning to love?
Because it's the only Savior in the world.
It's so that we can be saved. That's the purpose of learning to love. Because the only way to be saved is that we what? Learn to love. So that means we have to put some what in? Work. Now, what is learning to love? We are learning to, let me ask you a question. What are you doing when you learn to love? What are you doing and how do you do it? I guess our question should be practice. Yeah, practice, but practice what and why? Kindness. Huh? Kindness. Yeah, you practice kindness, but kindness must be practiced how? How do you practice kindness?
Understand.
Yeah, you must understand what it is before you can practice it. Right. I agree with that, but for you to get the understanding from it, you must what? You got to know it. Because how can you identify it if you don't know it? We're we're talking about knowing kindness. See, you can talk about kindness, and you can say kindness is doing something good for somebody, but is that really kindness, or is that just that? So you can act, but that does not mean you know. You only know only when you know, by being what?
What you know.
And understanding there's no limitations to it.
Now we're learning to talk about kindness, because in being kind there is what?
No limitations.
No limitation. And what else in kindness? What else about kindness does one need to know when they start to practice?
It's an act of love.
Say it so I can hear you. What? What is it? What else should we need to know about kindness when we begin to practice it? It doesn't discriminate.
No, that's right.
You gotta be the kind of people who are not kind to you. Come on, man.
And that's why when you said the word, you said, it's one thing as saying,
Yeah.
you being kind.
Yes.
But when you really think about it, are you just saying it?
Yeah.
Or are you really being it? Because to be it, you must practice it even when it's not in your face.
It's no question. It's no.
And that's
You must,
expect-
babe. You not forgive me.
No, go ahead, I'm finished.
Babe, you must practice it when it's not even being returned to you.
Come on, man.
And I tell you something else. You must practice it when it may not even be acknowledged that that's what you're doing. Because if you're looking for satisfaction coming from you by you performing a certain kind act, you're at least waiting for somebody to say thank you.
Yeah.
But suppose they cut you out.
Come on.
And I've had that done. So I know it's a possibility for it to be done. You know what I mean? So now look at this. Now you have to be careful, because when that's done, you can't impulsively withdraw your act of kindness by saying, I should have never did it in the first place.
Or make you hesitate.
To do it again. That's right.
Or respond to what she said
That's right.
in a negative manner.
That's right. Because you know you can negate kindness. You can do a kind act and pull it back. Come on.
So that's why when you give out kindness, it got to be from the purity of your heart.
It's got to be. Because
It got
if
to
it's
be
not,
sincere.
what'll happen if it's not?
It's gonna show.
It's going to show, but not only that, it can be altered.
It can come back at you.
Also do harm.
It's no question. But see, it can be altered.
Yeah.
It's easy to wish I never did it.
Or you'll shape it to justify your behavior.
We'll see the whole thing. That alteration is the going back and shaping it.
For your benefit.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You know, see, all that falls under learning how to love, you know. Because
Yeah.
see, when we learn how to love, we're going to be kind.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
we're going to be kind to the stranger at your door. You know,
Yeah.
the one that
Yeah.
sits through your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think all that falls under when you learn how to love.
Yeah. But what happened? You may not have learned how to love yet. What is it now? I'm learning to love. I may not have learned to love. I'm learning how to love. I may not have learned to love. What is it now? Come on, Mark.
Is when I look at look up the word learning, it also says a process.
Yes.
And like you always say, like when
Yeah.
you're practicing, that's a process.
Yes.
Because the
Right.
first time you try, you might not get it right. You know,
Right.
you don't get it right all the time the first time. So
Right.
it's a constant process that
Right.
you have to be, what I said, steadfast
Right.
in until you do get it right.
That's right. That's right. Well, let me ask you something. Before you even can become, I guess, consistent at it, what must you do?
Think,
You gotta think, no question.
but believe that your condition.
You believe that your condition can be better. So what else must you be doing? What else must you be doing? Practicing, no question. But what else must you be doing? Yes, no question. But what else must you be doing?
Be willing to try.
Willing to try, no question, babe. What you gonna say more?
Being aware of irresolution.
That's no question. But what else? Let me put it this way. What must you be doing? Striving.
Come on, raise it up.
You must be striving to do what? Better. And you must be striving to do what?
Be kind.
Learn yourself.
Yes, but you must be striving to do what? Huh? Yes, clean up. You must be striving to clean up. Because if you don't clean up, you can't appreciate what true kindness is. Because you're doing that in that state of mind that leads us to be more selfish in our thinking, to do something and expect something to be done in return.
So you're still doing the mix.
You're still doing the mix. You're still doing the mix. Yeah.
It reminds us when Jesus said heart was fixed.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and then kind of, you just got to be like, whatever, I'm just gonna do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Or say what I need to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
don't expect nothing in return or whatever comes
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your heart got to be fixed.
Yeah. You're not doing it. You're not doing it because you're expecting something in return. You're doing it because it's what?
It's the right
It's
thing.
the right thing to do. And you have what? And what have you done? What have you just exercised?
Strength.
Yes, but what have you exercised to do it?
Will.
You have willed it.
Will.
You have willed it. Now, once you will it, what takes place?
Once you will
The
it,
act.
Yes, it does. Listen, that's right. Once you will it, what takes place? Come on. That's right. And that in itself is a blessing. Because you have chosen to perform that type of action. Willingly. You have willed it to come into play yourself. You have chosen with the free will that has been given to you by Almighty God Himself to attune yourself with Him. You've made a choice to serve God openly.
He created a condition.
That's right. And that condition can be reminiscent to the state of mind which is known as heaven. Come on.
you know, Brother Lee, I was thinking when Brother Mason Real used the word strive.
Yes.
The thought came to me was when he said the word striving is, the thought came to me was, as we strive, it will give us a clear conception
Yes.
of the work
Yes.
that we are called to do.
Yes. Yes.
Because the striving will allow us to be able to receive
Yes.
information
Yes.
that we need to stay on the path.
Yes. Yes.
See, sometimes if we don't strive, we may be moving murky,
Yes.
and murky doesn't allow us to receive what we need to receive because of the vibration we're under.
That's right.
But the striving helps us start to prepare ourselves,
Yes.
and then we can, as we strive, we will receive information that helps us be able to see what we need to see and how we need to do it.
Yes.
So I was thinking about it when he said that.
Yeah. And see, the important thing about striving, you must identify what?
Something is wrong.
What you say?
Say something is wrong.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, but you're striving to identify what?
The law of something. Then,
You're striving for purity.
That's right.
yeah.
You're striving, and that purity is doing what?
Cleaning you up.
Cleaning you up. So that you can recognize.
That's what I mean.
See?
Yes.
So you can recognize.
That's what.
Yeah.
Praise God. Yes.
Yes.
Going back in your thoughts
Yes.
of identifying that something needs to be cleaned up,
Yes.
that you need to strive. So it goes back to self-examination.
Yes. Yes.
And understanding that I got a lower self and a higher self,
Yeah.
and how I can go about cleaning up
Yeah. Yeah.
from that lower self.
Yes. Yes.
So our thoughts still come back. Thought is the cause of
It
it.
does. It all starts with that. But you must commit yourself to striving for purity. See, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
You can't desire to clean up today, and tomorrow you're gonna say, "Well, I've done enough. I can do a little something else this time." You revert back to being how you were before you chose to strive. See, striving is beneficial when it is put in process and you are consistent at it.
But then you have to go back and identify the strength within yourself
It's
to
no
be
question.
able to hold on to that.
Yes, yes. That's why examining yourself is important, because you go
Exactly.
back and relive what you did,
And what you
identify
didn't
what
do
you did,
and didn't do.
yeah, and what you didn't do, and why you did it,
Right.
and who you did it for.
So now we're striving for the Allah within.
No question. We are striving to know it. You can only begin to know it when you start to clean yourself up. Because he does not come into a place that is unprepared for him. And the only way that we can prepare is that we are willing to do so. And that in itself is done by the choice that we make. But how committed to the choice that we make are we for real? Because if we're not committed to that choice, it's just a matter of time before we fail to continue to do it. Why? Come on.
First, what I was thinking about right now was tonight, was speaking about the accepting part. You have to accept
That's right.
it in order to,
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. And that's good. Because if you don't accept it, you're not going to strive. You know? See, we're coming to the organization, or we're coming to the temple. We hear things. And those things that we hear, by the things that we hear that's based in truth, we get a sensation from it because it stirs up our spirit. Our spirit can recognize and say, oh yeah, that's right. But now this part becomes important. To hear it and learn to commit yourself to it. Because unless you commit yourself to it, how can you accept it? If I'm not committed to it, how can I accept it? I hear it, okay, for the moment, it does something for me, and I'm able to relate for the moment. But if I'm not committed to it, you'll be like those who fall by climbing. You start. So that's why commitment is important, striving is important. Let me ask you something. How can you make heaven in the world? How do you identify your heaven that's created heaven is a what? It's a state of mind. How do you create the state of mind of heaven in the world? How do you identify heaven in the world? I'm saying we say we can create heaven because it's a state of mind. How can you identify your heaven in the world? Come on, my dear.
It's by things that are peaceful and in harmony with Allah's law.
Okay.
By things that don't cause chaos or confusion.
Okay.
By anything that you can identify as being of the higher self, as being of Allah and His teaching.
Okay.
By what you see or experience, manifested.
Okay. Come on, Brother Craig.
It's John.
Brother Craig.
I think you can achieve heaven by making a strong accomplishment, something that you plan, and if you accomplish it and get it done, you feel so good about it.
Okay. Come on, sister.
But establishing the principles and making them a part of every part, right? And use them to stay in my higher self to the best of my ability.
Okay. Now, we say we create this heaven. And we identify with it in a way that we are able to associate. Yet, in the heaven that we created that offers us what we say is an indication to us that we're in a state of heaven, something will come along and just take your heaven away. Just like that. So how do you hold heaven in the world? And all this stuff going on around us, how can we hold heaven in the world? Come on.
Once you establish what makes you happy,
Okay,
you have to fortify that with contentment,
okay,
because everybody's having or state of happiness might vary different.
that's right,
Different.
that's right,
So what make, like, I think it's in the chapter weakness,
right,
and it says what make you happy. You gotta what makes you content. You gotta be happy with that.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Be firm on what makes you happy.
right.
You know, and stick with that.
Right. And that's the truth. That's the truth. But man is truth and falsehood strange to me. Today he will. Tomorrow he will not. Today I want heaven. Tomorrow I just had an encounter that causes me to discount what heaven even is. What it was to me yesterday. You see? That's why it's important that we do what with ourselves. Because we have to understand, even in our ability to create heaven, which is a state of mind, man is in constant.
That's right. That's right.
You know, come on.
You know, I was just thinking, Brother Lee, when you asked the initial question, first question, I first must go back and reevaluate my thought of heaven.
Yes. Yes.
See, because we have been given information about heaven, but we know we learn the more scientific learning. Allah never made a heaven for man, never made a heaven.
Yeah.
We are creators of our own.
More, not to break your thought, more. But listen, we are creators. So that means the heaven that I create today may not be the heaven I look at tomorrow.
Yes.
Go ahead, man.
So when you ask that question, I gotta go because I gotta reassess my thought of heaven.
Yes.
And then I can't look for impossibilities
Yes.
about heaven.
Yes.
But I think Sister Joan Bay touched on something that was very important.
Yes.
Because when you read about the higher self, it said it's the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life.
Yes.
And it breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
Yes.
At this particular time, if I can consistently have that environment around me,
Yes.
or create a condition up like that,
Yes.
then I can equate that as being heaven.
Yes. The prophet gave us a key, babe.
Good.
Babe, he gave us a key. And I just recently dawned on it. It's a key that's, we talk about it all the time, but we may not understand how significant it is in us creating the condition of heaven. He said, if you think your condition can be that.
Come on.
Come on.
I was thinking about this holding thought, holding a high thought.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless
Yeah.
what these eyes may see,
Yeah.
because how often are these
Yeah.
eyes seeing the truth from error?
Yes. Yes.
So this holding thought,
Yeah.
high thought.
And that's a good thought. But how does one hold a consistently high thought in the world of illusion? My dear.
I would say, I know growing up, they used to say, always stay prayed up. So,
Yeah.
constantly saying prayers,
Yeah.
and a bag,
Yeah.
to help you out.
Yeah. That will help you out. No question. That's what we're looking for too, help. Because remember, and all the things we're saying that's good that we're talking about, you can't fail to remember that man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
including yourself.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I mean, when we're looking at,
Yeah.
we gotta remember, I'm that way too, so am I contributing to or making this a habit?
There's no question. Look, you can be in a good, I can feel good today. Everything I create can be heaven. But the moment I'm hit with that challenge, my thought would change. And once my thought changed, whatever can do good can also do harm. That's right. And remember, we're talking about creating heaven, but we have not talked about yet creating a hell for ourselves. Because you know we do one or the other. And it's done daily. See, you're not in a state of nothingness. You're going to create one or the other. And that's solely based on what influences you. See, I could be under the influence of a heavenly thought, so therefore I'm able to see this condition and somewhat manifested because I'm in this, under the influence of this heavenly way of thinking. But what happens when in my weakness, I now transfer over to seeing this hellish way of thinking? What am I influenced? What's influenced me now? Have I been able to walk down the street and all of a sudden I hear a sound or I hear a song and it alters the way I think?
Yes.
I was just thinking like this, but now I hit this vibration, and now my thought has been altered based on a song, a sound, a look, a smell, because it comes in by way of your senses. That's how he addresses us. That's how he gets to us. He gets our attention by way of our senses. What we see, what we smell, what we hear, what we taste. So he can move through all those doors that's open, and he can get our attention. So I was thinking about something heavenly, and all of a sudden I see something, and whoa, I'm gone.
You can't get back from that.
Sometimes you linger.
Yeah. Right.
And some of those, some vibrations that you enter into, they have the tendency to hold you. And then, like you tell us, they can rush in 1,000 at a time. 1,000 at a time. Can you imagine being mesmerized by this one thing right after the other?
Yes.
Come on.
Islam. Friday, you said it more than once, but Friday you said something about talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And you were saying that, it's all right to talk to yourself as long as you talk to yourself about the right things, like talking about law or essence or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's something when first time I heard you say that, I've been really trying to really focus on that.
Right.
Because like you say, how something take you,
Yeah.
you could be hid and something take you there.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to chapter 41.
Yeah.
Instruction 23 says the happiness of the inconstant
Yes.
is as a palace built on the surface of the same.
Yes.
The blowing of the wind curved away its foundation.
Yeah.
What one of them that is falling?
Yes.
And that's kind of like going to what we saying, like you could be happy one moment, but if your happiness is based on something for life, that foundation can go just like that. When the tide come in and hit that sand, it's gonna go away. So that's why I like when you were saying that would brought me to what you had said, like about talking to yourself, because that's what that I'm learning how to try to practice. So like when I am happy and something go wrong, I talk to myself about the lessons and what Allah said, and what the prophet said and stuff like that. Yeah. Because kind of like go with what we're saying, like because that conflict always there. Yeah. And your happiness gotta be founded on things that don't bring conflict. Yeah. Something that's infinite, not something that's finite.
That's right. And keep this in mind too. You talk yourself into things.
Mm-hmm.
You talk yourself into being a submitter, or you talk yourself into being a non-submitter. When you say, I'm going to take a case in point, I need to go to the store. Well, then you talk yourself into getting up and going to the store. You create the condition, but you create the condition by, first of all, doing what? Thinking about it. And it's the same thing about learning to love. Because learning to love, it takes a what? It takes effort. It takes a consistent me telling me, I need to do this, I need to do that. I need to follow this, I need to follow that. And the other side of you saying, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now the question is, which has the most what? Influence. Well, that's solely dependent on what you have surrounded yourself with.
What are you committed to?
Yes, what are you feeding from? Where's your source of nourishment coming from? It's whatever influences you is what you have or what you are getting your nourishment from. Your surroundings.
Yes.
What's in your environment? Because you are a product of your environment. So what am I around? Because whatever I'm around, I'm feeding off of that. And that's what's going to come into play when I have to make these choices that contribute to the condition that I experience. Come on.
And that's why it's so important that we must study ourselves.
You must know.
We have the only way to be able to overcome this is that we must recognize our lower self. He said, "He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world,
Yes.
and he who knows well his higher self knows things that doesn't." Well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna read it.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna do that. But he says, "He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away, and he who knows his higher self knows well the things that cannot pass away." And that's why it's nowhere. That's why reflection is our business.
Yes.
We have to take time and take a look and be honest with ourselves. That my appetite draws me to this.
Yes.
And then I'm going to continue because I'm learning this, brother.
Yeah.
It ain't but two.
Yeah.
I'm going or I'm not going.
Yeah.
And no one has to force me to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go because I choose to go.
Yeah.
Because I have a will to say no.
Yeah.
See, when I start recognizing that now, if I go,
Yeah.
I got to accept what comes with going.
Yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself because if you don't, you'll make excuses for why you're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still win.
You went. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I'm learning and as I'm learning, I think we talk about determination.
Yes.
I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though it's gnawing at me.
Yeah.
Now this is the conflict.
Yeah.
I got to fight.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
To keep from going.
Yeah.
But if I go,
That's right.
I got to accept what comes with it.
It's no question. It's no question. It's no question.
That's why it's so important to hold. That's why it's so important to study and hold a thought.
Yeah.
You know, we got to keep studying and practicing to hold a thought,
Yeah.
a higher thought.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said that, where you asked, we have to be mindful of where we get our nourishment from.
Yes.
That is what's in our environment.
Yes.
So my question is, can your environment also be within your mind and not your physical environment? Because I'm thinking about the times that I've been in an environment that might be said to be unhealthy or unwholesome.
Yes.
And to not be affected by that in a negative way.
Yes.
I've gone into my head, into my mind, and created something else, and focused on something else, so that I would not be influenced by that physical environment.
Okay. But remember, that physical environment is a result of your inner environment. See, when we talk about physical, remember, it's not physical from the beginning. It's not physical. Physical is the last manifestation of what we are creating in our mind, with the way we think. It is a direct result of thought. Not thought is a direct result of it.
Islam.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, I understand that, but I'm thinking about an environment as in, like, one example of an environment I was in an environment and explain to me how I created it. I was in an environment with people that were constantly verbally and physically fighting with one another.
Gotcha.
They cursed all the time.
Right.
They smoked cigarettes.
Right.
And drank all the time.
Right.
And so I I knew enough, or I had been taught that these things, these are not good things that's going on.
Right.
And to help me to, I guess, cope with that and to not be like that.
Right.
One thing I was saying is in my mind was, you know, when I grow up, I'm not gonna do none of that.
Right. Okay.
But the other thing was that I would also go in my mind
Right.
and go to, I guess, another place.
Right.
And create
Right.
a better environment for
Right.
myself.
Right.
While I had to be in the midst of that.
Right.
So, explain that to me.
Okay, well, listen.
In light of what you just
Okay,
said.
all right. Look, remember something. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. That is a way of life that was presented to you.
Right.
You could have very well have made that choice in that environment to discount someplace other than that. And and then you would have become a product of your environment. Your choice from your choice, you created another way of life that would allow you to pass so that you could see that way that's not what you choose. See, remember, we're always in a position that we are presented with a choice. For us to make the right choice, you have to know you're dealing with the one and the other because you're truth and false or strangely mixed.
So, it may not have been my creating that environment, but it may have been the result of a past life and how I was.
It could have been that, but whatever the case may be, the thought was there.
With me.
With you. Whether you carried it over or the point is, it was there. Because if it had not been there, it could not have manifested. You see it because it's a thought there which enables you to see what it is. Now you don't have to feed it. You don't have to create the condition that's associated with that thought. But that thought is there. Because that's truth and falsehood, strangely mixed. That's your battle. That's all of our battle. But it's your choice that gives it to you entirely. Entirely meaning the entire manifestation of it. Your choice. We all got truth and falsehood. I have see, unlike yourself, me chose that environment, not this environment. You know? And it's not that, that's the part of me that I yielded to. So whatever you yield to is what you will experience. You know, just like you can have those thoughts, but you don't have to submit to them.
Yes.
I don't have to grab that thought just because it goes. And how would you not have that thought? Or a thought like that when you're again, your truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. Come on.
Insufficiency of knowledge instruction 21 says, would if thou see thine insufficiency more plainly, view at thy devotions. And applying that to myself, like when I was in those type of environments, you could look at devotion as I practice that too. Like you always saying, hold the thought and practice. How I view at my insufficiency when I was in those type of environments or that situation, I didn't hold the thought because I didn't know what the thought was. I just indulged in my surroundings and, like you said, became a product of my environment because that's what I was devoting myself to. And now that, like you were saying, like you had just said, I wasn't here, I was there. Now that I am here, that's like, I think I heard one of the brothers say, that's where the conflict comes. Because now I'm trying to practice this, but I was so used to doing that for so long because I was practicing. You know what I'm saying? So now that I'm learning, the new way of life that the prophet came and instructed me to go, now that's like you say, the striving comes in. You gotta constantly always fight because I've been practicing that. Now I'm trying to learn this.
Hey, brother,
Go ahead, man.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to Sister Doe
Yeah,
the soul.
yeah,
And the thought came because I understand, I heard where you was coming from.
yeah,
And I experienced something in that matter.
yeah,
And one day we had a conversation in Sunday school and it allowed me to see something that I didn't see when I experienced. I had to ask myself, well, how did I get here?
yeah,
How did I get here?
yeah,
When I'm supposed to be going this way,
yeah,
somehow I wind up over here.
yeah,
And when we had a conversation, I said, why? Because we have to get control of it.
yeah,
Because our search is search for truth.
yeah,
And the means of finding it is reasoning and experience.
yeah. But they're weak and safe, uncertain information.
That's when I need weekends. Yeah, so sometimes she will guide us to places
Yeah,
that we are not fully clear on why we. Go ahead, man.
no, but, not so much that she'll guide us, there are thoughts that will guide us.
Yeah, and if we don't have control over it,
Right,
we will go.
right.
And that's why you go ahead,
Hey,
go ahead.
look, we're traveling through the ethers, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember what I told you the ethers were? It's the medium by which thoughts travel.
Okay.
We are traveling in the ethers. And in the ethers, there are many thoughts. And these thoughts have an influence on our soul.
Come on, that's what. Okay. Come on.
So now our soul will gravitate towards what her appetite is most influenced by.
Mm.
And that's what's going to pull her. That's what's going to entice her. That's what she's interested in. We just said, I got you, bro. You just said something about appetite.
Yes.
Think about that appetite. When you get hungry, you ready to get something to eat. Well, when she gets hungry, she's going to get something to eat. The question is, what type of nourishment is she seeking? And that's based on her appetite that comes from what she is influenced by.
Mm.
What kind of food does she like? Well, what do we choose to feed her?
Come on.
What have we been feeding her? Because she's going to go after what she's been fed. Come on, brother.
All right, see that. That's a good point. Because God said that he made the devil over enemy to.
Yeah.
So whoever seeking,
Yes. Say that. Whoever what?
whoever seeking,
Seeks him. That's right.
exactly. God allowed him to be vulnerable
Yes, that's right.
to anything he opened to.
That's right.
To
That's
direction.
That's right.
But those who seek the path of God,
That's right.
God blocked that.
That's right.
God helped them, God
That's
against the
right.
evil.
That's right. That's
So-
right. That's right.
In order to temptations used to make you come to them, it's because you never seek God at first.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never wanted to God against the evil
Yes.
until the evil started causing you pain.
Yes.
Then you seek God.
Yeah.
Then God
Yeah.
still was there for you though.
Yeah.
So he helps you guard against the evil.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm.
That's good. That's a good way. That's a good.
And then he shows you a new way of life,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way. That's a good way to.
which is the path of all the prophets,
Yeah. Yeah.
the path of righteousness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, cause think about it. Look at it. The heart of man cannot attend at once to too many things. So that means we gotta choose the things that we allow to exist here in our heart. I pointed it, but I'm not the heart, I'm not talking about the physical heart. You know. And now I gotta find out what I like.
Come on.
We gotta ask ourselves, what do you really like?
Mm.
What do you really choose? And then you have to ask yourself, why do I like that? What does that give me that satisfies a craving that I have within me, which causes me to choose that in the first place?
Mm.
And then you got to weigh it. What side is this on? Is this that which works for me, let me be able to have the gift of the understanding to make that determination. To identify it. I gotta be able to identify what's good for me and what's not good for me. Because in the past, I haven't been able to make that distinction. Come on.
It's I'm trying to go back to what Sister John Bay was talking about earlier, also in all the conversation. I remember a while back in Sunday school, and someone made a statement about Allah testing us.
Yeah.
And you let us know that Allah don't test us, we test ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And I was thinking about the environment that we create or put ourselves in.
Yeah.
Are we testing ourselves
Yes.
to see the strength within?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we keep testing ourselves. That's a part of our examination, right?
Yes. Yes. And examination has to come from what we choose. Remember, Allah gave us the gift of free will.
But are we testing ourselves in certain areas because we know that's our weakness in those particular areas?
Well, I think what he does, he reveals to us our weakness. Remember, he doesn't have to test us because he knows our determination before it's made.
Right.
His eye pierces the secret of every heart. What does he need to test us for when he already knows?
Exactly.
The question is, or that's not, the question is this. I mean, the answer is this. We test ourselves, like you said.
But are we able to identify our own weaknesses?
If you are in sincerity, trying to improve your condition. He blesses you if you are sincerely seeking to make your condition better based on the laws that he has prescribed for us. Because you have to be the one to acknowledge the fact that is the obedience to his law is happiness to us. Once we can accept that, and we can grasp the concept of that, then we make more of a commitment to being obedient to his law. Mm-hmm. But until we make that commitment, we will continue to be various and waiting.
And when we're speaking about it, we don't need to speak about it outwardly. We speak about it inwardly.
Who are you trying to convince?
That's the move. That's it. Right?
Who are you trying to get to acknowledge that you are made a transition from what you used to be?
Come on.
Why do I have to go around and say, well, you know, I used to? And always be consistent in bringing to someone's attention that you have not always been like this. Who are you trying to convince?
Come on.
Because you don't have to convince Allah, he already knows. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter who you convince. They don't have the authority to allow you to have the rite of passage. That only comes from Allah. Your right to pass on,
come on,
to a more developed, higher developed way of life can only be done by Allah. No need of me trying to convince you. You want to be in line just like me. We all going to go through the same thing. Why? Because he respecteth not the persons or the stations of men. The high, the low, the rich, the poor, the wise, the ignorant. When the soul shaketh off the cumbrous shackles of this mortal life, shall equally receive from the sentence of just and everlasting retribution according to their works. We got to answer for this. So we constantly strive to do what? What are we striving to do? Yes, be right. We create a better environment, but what else? Clean up, yes, but what else? Yes, but we're also striving to please God. How can you not when he's the final say? How can you not be trying to please Almighty God Allah when he has the final word?
Come on.
I can't persuade nobody. There's nobody above you. There's nobody else I can go to. gotta make it right with you. And that's what we gotta do. We gotta make it right with our life. It's not that I don't care about you, but you're insignificant when it comes to me receiving the okay to move on. Come on.
So that's why he would say every tongue
Must.
confess his own.
Come on, bro. And not only that, not only will your tongue confess, but the book is there. The book of his remembrance. It has already been made. Every word, thought, and deed that we do is already written down. So you can't get up there with no con job up there. I don't care how well you can talk. You ain't gonna be able to say that anyway. Question is, what you been doing? Well, on the 16th of so-and-so, you were involved in this situation that you initiated and blamed it on someone else. You ain't gonna be able to say nothing. No, I didn't do that. No, you ain't gonna be able to say that. But remember, he's fair, he's just. He's not gonna, nothing will befall you that has not been meant to befall you. Let's go to chapter 12. The Holy Koran is the more science people learn. Chapter 12. Much of this in chapter 12, we've been talking about. The only difference is this is a different setting. They give us another way of looking at it. So we're going to go to chapter 12, and Jesus teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal what? Happiness. Let me ask you something. What is significant about the spring?
Everything grows.
That's a good one. That's a nice four things grow from the spring. Okay.
I say it's a calming place.
A calming place. That's nice. What else is significant about a spring?
Somewhere quiet.
It is somewhere quiet. Yes.
It's clean.
Okay, we look at it, we can visualize it. Yeah, now it's becoming visual to us. Tell me something else about a spring.
It's life.
Life. Okay. What else do you see about a spring? Because that's something is being taught at this spring. How do you teach something pertaining to eternal happiness unless you're able to identify with what?
A spring isn't the water in a spring pure and clean, constantly being
Purified.
and clean?
Yeah, I think you're correct about that. You know? Yeah. What else?
What about the flow of the water?
Okay, the flow of the water, that's good. Listen, visualize it. You're talking about eternal happiness being taught here, or in this area, or under these conditions where spring is present. It's a reason why the spring is a significant part of what this environment is presenting to you. It's not just there because it's there. It's there because it has a purpose.
Life exists.
Life.
Not a whole lot of water.
It's not a lot of water. It's not as much as a river or a lake.
But it's just enough.
It's just enough. And listen, a flowing spring.
Yes.
Now we're getting into something else. What if you once it becomes flowing, now what comes into play?
It's constant.
It's constant, yes. But what else?
It's carrying.
It's carrying. What else? What else if it's flowing?
Living. The
Yes,
young
living.
lady said living.
Yes.
Yes.
What else?
Going forward.
Huh?
It's going forward.
Okay, it's going forward. Okay.
Forward.
But remember, look what else else it does for you?
It's creative.
Yes, but it also causes a sound.
Mhm.
And in that sound, there is a vibration. That vibration, that vibration contributes to your state of mind. Your state of mind becomes receptive because you're listening. And to hear it flow, you hear the sound coming from a spring as it flows over the rocks to clean itself. It starts to affect your thoughts. You are peaceful. And as you become peaceful, can't you begin to think about eternal happiness?
So you're more receptive.
Because the condition now is appropriate for the lesson to be taught. Remember, lessons are not taught, wise sentences are uttered in what due season. Now, for the season to be due, everything is in harmony. Your condition is in harmony. In due season. In due season, there's not a storm. If this is not the lesson to be taught. Everything that teaches us a lesson, that condition, that lesson is taught in, is appropriate for our growth and development. We would not be able to comprehend it if it was not due season. And remember, all seasons does not have to necessarily present to you a calming condition.
That's it.
There may be a condition of a tornado that is due season for you to learn a lesson. Lessons are not always taught the way we think that they are to be taught. Because all times are not alike. Sometimes, you need to be made to sit down to be taught a lesson. So a condition will be made appropriate for you to be made to sit down.
That's right. That's all.
Yeah.
And then that,
Oh yes, my brother.
with that train of thought, he teaches us that out of the worst,
That's right.
the wise
That's
will
right.
find means of good.
That's right.
So we have to look at every condition
Yes.
as a learning
Yes.
experience, as an opportunity
Yes.
to learn.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And not
Yes.
judge the condition itself, but what's the meaning of it?
What's the meaning of it? That's right. That's right. So knowing that, what must we be able to do to learn from whatever condition, whatever is presented from whatever condition we experience?
You must reflect on
We must be able to reflect, but we must first do something else.
what's the meaning of this.
No, before we do that, we got to do something else. Recognize the lesson. Before we recognize it, we got to do something else.
Be still.
Be what?
Be still.
You got to be still. You got to be still. You got to be still to hear the voice explain to you
Okay.
how to react to it. If you hear the voice will tell you, don't get involved, be still. No, don't say anything.
Uh-huh. That's the first one.
Come on, that's what happens. But you got to be able to hear the voice.
Exactly.
Because once you don't hear the voice, whose voice do you hear?
The other one.
Loud.
Yeah.
And then yours will tell you, you better say something. And then you'll find those who say, well, look, I just got to say something. You got to say something. Why do you got to say something?
And the law of
They have lawsuits. When you hear someone say, I got to say this, look, they got to say it. Understand, they are all using the voice of man to say it. See, in conditions that gives us the outward manifestation of being out of order and unruly, you got to know when to say, what not to say, when to talk, when not to talk. And you have to remove yourself from being the one to do the talking. Because you can't steal anything unless you have the support of Allah. You got to be able to say what needs to be said under the guidance of He who knows what to say. And the only way that you can tap into that source is that you what? You have to have acceptance. You have to submit.
Strive.
You have to strive. Right? Yeah. Because this is how our people were guided when we were in harmony with God. They were guided by the voice. And they say the voice spoke often to our people. And our people responded by listening. And they learned to follow by way of listening. They learned to follow instructions. So when the instructions came to our people by way of the voice to build a holy city, they were able to construct a holy city. And the thoughts that were promoted in that construction were holy thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how our people used to move. And that's how we are learning to return to the state of mind of our ancient forefathers today. We must learn to listen to the still small voice. And learn to trust the voice. See, we have learned, unfortunately, by accepting their teachings, to discount the voice and go by what we start to think we need to do.
Yes.
I gotta do this. Why are you moving like that? I gotta do it. Did you think I gotta do this? Not thinking about, wait a minute, am I doing what's appropriate to be done in the moment that I'm presently existing in? See, each moment presents to us an opportunity to perform a act that's in accord with the behavior that needs to be exhibited at that particular time. This is how you're supposed to act in this moment. This moment is a moment that we're in now, is a moment of religious discussion. Enlightenment. So we must conduct ourselves in a certain way in this moment. We must make note of every moment that we find ourselves existing in, because each moment has a particular way that we are to conduct ourselves. But if we follow the instructions, and that's establishing into ourselves principles of action, we're always conducting ourselves appropriately in whatever moment we find ourselves in. Because our actions are governed by what? Principles. Rules of conduct that is appropriate for wherever we may find ourselves. You know?
And in this setting,
Yeah.
and in this setting we're in,
Yes.
it was a holy thing.
Yes.
And it was
Yes. 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 Yes, it was. It was. In silent meditation, Jesus sat beside a flowing spring. It was a holy day. And many people of the servant caste were near the place. And Jesus saw the hard-drawn lines of toil on every brow, in every hand. There was no look of joy in any face. Not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. And Jesus spoke to one and said, "Why are you all so sad? Have you no happiness in life?" The man replied, "We scarcely know the meaning of that word." We toil to live and hope for nothing else but toil. And bless the day when we can cease our toil and lay down and rest in Buddha's city of the dead. And Jesus' heart was stirred with pity and with love for these poor toilers. And he said, what does it mean that his heart was stirred? He was what? He was moved. When something moves you, what does it do? Any vibration.
Make you feel a certain kind of way.
Okay. Well, I've been moved by what you just said. Yeah. You move me. What moves me when I talk to you? What moves you when you are when you encounter those things that you are encountered with, or those things that you encounter during your comings and your goings on your journey in this striving towards this way of life? What moves you? What moves you to cause you to come to your meeting?
Thoughts.
Yes, the thoughts do. But whose thoughts? Whose thoughts move you to come to your meeting? Is it Allah that moves you? Or is it you putting in action your freedom of choice? Question for is, once you move, you choose. Once you move, you make a choice.
Prophet's teachings move me.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. If the prophet's teachings move you and prompt you to conduct yourself in a certain way, then you're truly blessed. But for his teachings to move you, you must do what? Accept. You gotta accept it. If you don't accept them, they have no what? Values, right. They have no what?
Influence.
Influence. Remember, you're moved by what influences you. Therefore, you must always consider the source. You must always consider the source, because once you receive influence from a certain source, if you accept being under that influence, your action will show exactly what that source or influence is prompting you to do. Examine with care. Fix that second. On thy present choice it's dependent upon your future happiness. It all comes from the choice that you make, based on the influence that you're under. This is a thought movement. Thought movement.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to move appropriately, you must have accepted the thought that founded the movement. The founder of the movement is a thought. And for you to receive the revelation that is offered to you by thought. You must accept the thought. Allah is the thought. The prophet is the thought made manifest. And that's how one helps to help. That's how one, once you accept it, you start to understand the significance of why it's necessary that you must think your condition can be better.
And that's why you base the movement on the thought
That's
that
right.
Allah has sent to us
That's
by way of the prophet,
That's right.
not by the individual.
No, no, no.
Because the prophet
Right
declared,
there. Yeah,
he said, I'm not right.
Yeah.
The temple was not right.
yeah, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
base the movement on the thought, on the prophet.
Yes, yes. Do not get caught up into those who have had an opportunity to serve in authoritative capacities and think that they are the ones that guide the destiny of the movement. You must always focus on the thought, the founder of the movement. If you cannot see the manifestation of the founder in those who have been placed in leadership over you, you are not compelled to follow them. You follow the prophet. But if you don't know the prophet, you will substitute the prophet by the persons who you think are in authority to give you the instructions that you need to be successful in moving yourself forward in this movement.
That's right.
Remember, what you see manifested is truth and falsehood, strangely mixed. You must be able to identify a consistent behavior pattern that's in accord with the founder of this divine movement. You got you. And many times that's going to mean, look, that friendship piece in here, that's is secondary when it comes to following the prophet. So keep that in mind. You keep that in mind, and you can avoid being disappointed. But sometimes when people don't meet your expectations, you become disappointed. And once you become disappointed, you start to make yourself an excuse. Well, he didn't do it. Well, I got to do it. Man is true. Now, man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed becomes very appealing because it can be used to give you the support to do things that's inappropriate for one who is seeking salvation. Peace.
Peace. Praise God. Very good. You're good, sir. You're good. You're good.
Islam. I'd like to thank our Grand Sheikh moderator, our brother man and friend, brother Arjun Bey, for coming forth, sharing these lessons with us, and it was a very inspirational, yes, and uplifting meeting. And it is my hope that each one of us got something that we can take and work with it, and apply it to ourselves and try to share it with someone else after we have tried it ourselves. At this time, I call forth the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C., Brother H.R.S. Bay, to read our proclamation. And while it's being read, please cease all movement and give the reading your undivided attention.
First, I give praise to Allah and the Prophet Muhammad. I give honor to each and every one of you, and I give honor to everything Prophet Muhammad has brought for the uplift and fall of humanity. Prophet warns all Muslim governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speech while they work in their homes on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans and cause confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. They lose confidence in their prophet. They should turn to their cars, but cease wearing their turban or fez and return to the state where the prophet found. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Duality. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore sending out the divine plea to all Muslim Americans. They do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet. Do the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of prophet Noble Duality. Peace.
Islam, Lord. That ends our Sunday school portion of questionnaire and Koran class. We're now going to our business portion. We will have 2 bags to space, public election, and the more shoplifting. And also, it is time for anyone who
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Amen.